Before the crushing tribal tread of conquering mankind came, the world was forest from east to west, without fences or borders or name. Then biting axes cleaved great wounds that never could be healed, wielded unthinking by human hands, first stone, then bronze, then steel. And as the mighty Titans fell to be butchered for hearth and home, the little mortals who ravaged them soon found they weren't alone. For beneath the boughs and between shady trunks and green sunlit dapplings, as well as boar and bear and wolf, lived more ancient and magical things. Some trees themselves got up and walked, squashing houses and people alike. There were leshy and the muslite and hinky punks and mischievous bright-eyed sprites. There were seductive dryads, tree spirits who would take away men who went without care, and striding thick-legged mushroom beings who puffed deadly spores into the air. These and many more were there who were the woodman's bane, until a wild man, unknown and unthanked, to save the forest folk came. The few who saw him gave him many a name, some real, some imagined, we suppose, known as Jacques des Saisons, or Jack in the Green, or just as the wild forest man, Woodwose. He had hair like a shrub filled with creepers and nests, and a beard to his waist to match. It sprung from his head and it sprung from his chin like an unkempt century-old thatch. In the spring there'd be flowers sprouting out of his hair, and his eyes were as green as the grass. In the summer there'd be ears of corn in his beard, and his eyes were like amber glass. Come the autumn he'd bear fruit, and mushrooms to boot, his eyes brown like two harvest mice. But in the winter he'd be barren and gaunt like a bone, and his eyes cold with death like blue ice. Those who met him all liked him and thought him eccentric. They said he was ever so odd, but they saw only the half that was a man like themselves, not the other half, part ancient god. So he travelled the woods and the forested hills and danced to satyrs' flutes. He'd walked on the ground or leap between branches or sink into the earth among roots. What people did not know, for he did not show, as they busied like bees in their hives, was the battle against darkness, against moss-covered dead, against goblins who came for their lives. They try and take babies asleep in their cots, or lure away children at play. They seduced husbands and sometimes the wives, or simply attacked people at work night and day. Tirelessly he fought to preserve what he thought of as the good heart of the woodlands, as well as the villages, houses and hovels in which the people of the forest did dwell. The magical part of him kept him alive beyond any normal lifespan, but eventually he was spent, and like all things he went into the earth like a mortal man. The good spirits of the woods found him a place where none could disturb him or see. So quietly they buried him down amongst roots, and above him they grew a tree. Through their magic protection and guardian spells, the wood spirits hid him where he'd never be found, so unknown to those who he'd saved or he'd helped. Among trees the woodwose slept in the ground. If you go there today, if you knew the way, there'd be nothing but woodland to see, only saplings and grasses and low forest flowers blooming at the base of a tree.